Hi, good evening to all of you. So, welcome once again for internal security discussion, and in the last class we attempted understanding the internal security apparatus of India with four vital components, that is security forces, then intelligence agencies, then investigating agencies and special laws. And within special laws, we have completed the discussion on Unlawful Activities Prevention Act of 1967, which got amended in 2019, and that amendment has been challenged in the Supreme Court, and that amendment is also responsible for triggering an intense debate, and those who have brought the changes in the law, they are giving justification that why those changes were required, but many constitutional experts, political scientists are critical of changes, and we have discussed on what ground they are criticizing those changes. So, in continuation of discussion on internal security apparatus, another important law which is a bit controversial in India is what I will take up for discussion, and it relates with Northeast primarily, but it relates with other part of India as well. So, Armed Forces Special Power Act, APSPA 1958. Armed Forces Special Power Act, Armed Forces Special Power Act 1958. Okay. So, we will be doing a discussion about Armed Forces Special Power Act 1958. I have already briefed you that while talking about Naga insurgency in India, that for the first time it was Naga Hill district where this act was enforced. Primarily, the act was enacted to cater a very different requirement which was there in Naga Hill district in 1950s because of insurgency spearheaded by NNC. So, we have discussed about that, but today we will do a standalone discussion on Armed Forces Special Power Act 1958. So, I would just like you all to remember that this Armed Forces Special Power Act 1958 is a special law passed by Parliament in 1958. This is a special law passed by Parliament. This is a special law passed by Parliament in 1958. Okay, in 1958, and under this law, right, under this law the provision is that if any area is declared disturbed area by central government, if any area is declared disturbed area, under this law, if any area is declared disturbed area, then in such area armed forces of union can be deployed, armed forces of union can be deployed, and while they will be deployed, they will have special powers to deal with the situation. They will have special powers to deal with situation. This is a very common sensical, introduction to this act, special powers to deal with situation. Okay. So, this is what you need to know, that this special law was passed by parliament, and as per the provisions of this special law, any area can be declared disturbed, and if area is declared disturbed under this act, then in that area armed forces of union can be deployed, and while they are deployed, during the period of deployment they will have special powers. What special powers? Who can declare area as disturbed area? All these things we will discuss in detail, but this is just a basic introduction. Now, today if we see, right, today if we see this AFSPA, Armed Forces Special Power Act 1958, and I am talking about, right, I am talking about November 2020. Okay. So, if we see in November 2020, this act is operational or under enforcement. This act is, the act is operational, and better legal word will be under enforcement. Under enforcement in which all part of India? Okay, in which all part of India? So, number one, right, number one, if we see, this act is in force right now in entire state of Assam. Entire state of Assam. Then it is also in the entire state of Nagaland, entire state of Nagaland. Then it is enforced in entire state of Manipur, and there is one exception in the Manipur, that except Imphal Municipal Corporation area, Imphal Municipal Corporation area. So, only exception is Imphal Municipal Corporation area. So, in the municipal corporation area jurisdiction, AFSPA is not there, otherwise it is in the entire state of Manipur as well. Okay, entire state of Manipur as well. And in addition to the three states, it has been withdrawn from many parts of northeast in the recent past. It is also in Arunachal Pradesh as on date, in Arunachal Pradesh, but not the entire state of Arunachal Pradesh. Within Arunachal Pradesh, it is operational in 3 districts, and those 3 districts are Changlang, okay, then Tirap, and then Longding. Okay, so these are the 3 districts in Arunachal Pradesh, and in addition to the 3 districts, outside 3 districts, 4 police stations. 4 police stations. Earlier, till 2018, it was 16 police stations. So, in 2018, it was withdrawn from 8 police stations, and it was in 8 other police stations it continued. But now in 2020 it has been withdrawn from 4 more police stations in Arunachal Pradesh, and outside the 3 districts, it is there, right, it is there in the remaining 3 districts which are of Arunachal. Now in addition to this, this act is also in areas bordering Assam. So in Arunachal Pradesh, the areas which are bordering Assam, similarly in Meghalaya, the areas which are bordering Assam, it's there, but as such in Meghalaya it's not there, in the state it's not there, only in border area up till 20 kilometers from the border this act is having the enforcement. But primarily it is in the entire state of Assam, then entire state of Nagaland, then entire state of Manipur, and within Manipur one exception, that it is in the except the municipal corporation area of Manipur, and in Arunachal Pradesh 3 districts completely, and outside 3 districts 4 police station. And then there is no need for me to tell you that it's also enforceable in Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. Okay. So as far as Jammu and Kashmir is concerned, I would just like you all to have this awareness that till August 2019, Jammu and Kashmir was having a special status as per the provisions of Article 370 of Indian Constitution, which got abrogated in August 2019. But before that, so APSPA cannot be extended in old days in Jammu and Kashmir. So what happened in 1990, because under 370 there was a provision that parliamentary laws can only be extended in Jammu and Kashmir with the approval of Jammu and Kashmir Legislative Assembly. So in 1990, this is now something which is very old thing, but you should remain aware. In 1990, the Jammu Kashmir Legislative Assembly passed Disturbed Area Act, and because of Disturbed Area Act, APSPA got extended in Jammu and Kashmir. Initially, it was only operational in districts which were on LOC. So the districts which were on LOC, only it was applicable in operational in those districts, but later on when Jammu and Kashmir was dragged to intense era of militancy, then it was extended in all districts of Jammu and Kashmir. But you know well that what happened, that in August 2019, the special status of Jammu and Kashmir was done away through abrogation of Article 370 of Indian Constitution, and the power has been vested in the Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir to decide about this Armed Forces Special Power Act, and now the Lieutenant Governor has declared the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir a disturbed area, as per which APSPA will continue in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. So it's there in Jammu and Kashmir. You understood where all this act is under enforcement. Now, related to this act, right, related to this act, in India, we are finding a gridlock situation. Related with this act, what we are finding? A gridlock situation. Okay. What is the meaning of gridlock situation? Different stakeholders have different view, and views are contradictory in nature. Okay. So, different stakeholders have different view related with this act. Different stakeholders have different views and there is lack of harmony in the view, or rather the views are conflicting and contradictory in nature, and that is what has given birth to a situation or scenario which can be termed as gridlock. Okay, this is gridlock, no? When your fingers are locked and the two hands are pushing right in opposite direction. Okay, so this kind of gridlock situation is there. Gridlock situation is there. Now, what is the gridlock situation? How can you explain the gridlock situation which is there? Now, most of the people in the areas where the act is under enforcement, they are favoring withdrawal. So, they have been demanding that please repeal or withdraw this AFSPA from our area. So, most of the people, again I am not using the word, I am not using the word all of the people. Now, why I am not using the word all of the people? See, in democracy, right, in democracy, who is the decision maker? People. But how we will know about the decision of the people? Through their elected representatives. Now, many a times what is said that all people in Manipur, they are demanding withdrawal of AFSPA. Okay. But right now if you see, again I am telling you, right now if you see, if all people are demanding withdrawal of AFSPA, then in the state of Manipur, we have a BJP led government. In India at union level, we have a BJP led government, and these government during the time of elections are making promises also. Okay. And then decision is not taken, and even if then decision is not taken and then people are okay, they are not asking questions. I will be telling you that now this is what everybody says, that how can you reach to this conclusion that all people are favoring withdrawal? I will be telling you the story of Irom Sarmila. When she contested election, to the shock of the country, she was defeated. She lost the election. Okay. So, if parties which are winning the election, through them only we know the view of the people, because we cannot go for referendum. But when elected representative express in legislative assembly or in parliament, through them views of the people are expressed. This is why earlier we also used to say that everybody is in favor of withdrawal of AFSPA. And then if that withdrawal is now not happening, we used to say that there is difference of opinion between center and the state. And since there is difference of opinion in the center and the state, because we have seen it being withdrawn completely from Tripura, okay, recently, and of course Tripura reported peace for years, then it was withdrawn, okay, then it was withdrawn. In Arunachal Pradesh, earlier it was in 16 police stations outside those 3 districts. From 16 it was reduced to 8, from 8 it has now been reduced to 4, and we can expect, but we need to discuss this properly. Okay. So, what we are saying that we cannot say, because even we need to understand this, how we will know the view of the people. We will know view of the people through their elected representatives, and if the party which is voted to power with overwhelming majority both at center and in the state, and then if something is not happening and even then that party is winning election after election, okay, it means that people are comfortable. Okay. So, this is the reason why I have also started saying that even today I can say that most of the people, not all of the people, are favoring, I am using the word favoring, they are in favor. They do not have a very strong demand as such, but they are in favor of withdrawal of AFSPA. Okay. So, most of the people where the act is under enforcement are favoring withdrawal of AFSPA. This is first. So, first stakeholder is, first stakeholder is people. Then the respective state governments are also of the opinion that the act should be withdrawn. So, even the state governments in these states are of the opinion that the act should be withdrawn. But army and other armed forces which are deployed under the act in these areas are against the idea of withdrawal of act or even amendment in the act which can impact the special powers which they enjoy under the act. So, army and other armed forces of the Union deployed under the act in these areas are against the idea of withdrawal of the act, or even against the idea of amendment in the act which may do away with the special powers which they enjoy under the act. So, they are completely against. Rather, they are saying that do not withdraw the act. If you want to withdraw, withdraw army. Let state police manage the law and order, we have no problem. But if you want us to work for maintenance of law and order, then you will have to give us special powers. Okay. So, army is against the idea, armed forces of the Union deployed, they are against this idea, people are favoring withdrawal, state government is also demanding withdrawal, is of the opinion, central government and parliament is confused what to do. Okay. Because when they will sit in a review meeting, home minister, defense minister, when they will sit in the review meeting, the way the case is presented by the army, they are saying, no, right now we cannot withdraw. But the moment they have to go to address the people during election campaign, and when they can sense the people's pulse, then they will land up promising that next time if we are voted to power, we will go for withdrawal. So, union government, central government and parliament, which is the final decision, which finally has to decide on this matter, they are in the state of confusion. Okay. They are in the state of confusion, and whenever they will be in the state of confusion, what they do? They will delay in decision making, they will not take decision. Status quoist, approach is there of parliament as well as the central government on this issue. Status quoist. What is the meaning of a status quo? Maintaining the current status. Okay. Maintaining the present status is known as status quo. Okay. So, status quoist approach is what we are seeing towards the act as far as parliament is concerned or central government is concerned. And this is what has created what essentially is termed as a gridlock scenario. So, related to AFSPA. Now, you just see, I told you earlier, again I am telling you, why people are favoring the withdrawal of AFSPA? They feel that some of the provisions of this law are draconian. They feel the provisions of the law has been abused by army and other armed forces of union on number of occasions. We have seen a very different type of protests related to withdrawal of AFSPA. We have seen, women going naked and protesting against AFSPA, saying that there are so many instances when army and defense forces have raped the people in the name of search, in the strokes of midnight, in the name of, right, in the name of operations, they are forcefully entering the house, they are conducting search. So allegations are there by people, and then they feel that if TADA can be withdrawn for abuse, if MISA can be withdrawn for abuse or repealed for abuse, if POTA can be repealed for abuse, then why not APSPA? Okay, they even are asking question that if situations in the region is what is the factor for enforcement of APSPA in Northeast and Jammu and Kashmir, then why APSPA was not enforced in Red Corridor when the area witnessed peak of Naxal violence. Okay, so people are in favor of, right? People are in favor of, and they are saying that India is a democratic country where the police is for people. We are not a military state. We are a democratic country. Okay, law is for people. Okay, so there is a demand which is, now army is having its own version. Army and armed forces of the union, other armed forces of the union, if they are deployed, they are saying that we have to perform the duty in a very hostile conditions. And right, and arguments and counter arguments are going on, okay, on this issue. And while performing the duty on several occasions, we have, led life and opted for supreme sacrifice. Now, if you want us to perform duty, then you will have to give us powers. How can we restore peace without powers? We are not knowing the local terrain. We are attacked by insurgents group. And it's not that the attacks have stopped. Every now and then there are incidents being reported from different parts where security forces, army has been attacked by insurgent groups. So when you want us to fight insurgents, you will have to give us special powers. And if you feel that the situation is normal, then rather than withdrawing the act, withdraw army. We are not there to do this duty. Let the local police maintain the law and order if they are capable. But if you want us to maintain peace in a disturbed area, that is only possible if special powers are there. This is what is the stand which defense forces, army has taken. Okay. Now people are asking another question. They are taking this debate forward. They are saying that India got independence in 1947. And within 8 years, 11 years, in Naga Hill district, we concluded that police cannot maintain law and order, so let's call army. So within 11 years, we reached to this conclusion that the situation is, very, very volatile. The situation demands deployment of army. Now, since 1958 till 2020, for so many years, armed forces of union is there in the region, and then today also if you say that the situation is not under control, why can't we conclude that army has also failed to maintain peace in the region, so let's call United Nations, peacekeeping force in the region. 11 years you concluded that police has failed, let's call army. Now some of the people from the region, they are saying so many years and even then the situation has not turned normal, while logically it should not be concluded that even armed forces of Union have failed, and only way out is that only when United Nations Security Force, peacekeeping force can be deployed, there is a possibility of that region. Some questions are being raised. Okay. So, a very gridlock situation is there. People have a different view, state governments have different view, elected representatives have a slightly different opinion, union government has a different opinion, parliament has a different opinion, and army has a different opinion. Intelligence inputs which is with the government is also indicative that if there is withdrawal, again that area will get fully disturbed. That kind of inputs are also there, intelligence inputs are there, intelligence agencies are feeding such inputs to the government, which is further complicating the task of government to take a decision. So, I hope you understood that why there is a gridlock situation, related with AFSPA. Now, as far as AFSPA is concerned, I would just like you all to remember few things, right, particularly related with AFSPA, Armed Forces Special Power Act 1958. See, if you ask me the controversial provisions in this act, I find is section 3 of the act. Most controversial I find section 4, but biggest controversy is around section 6. Okay, so section 3, section 4, section 6, and you need to understand. See, under section 3, it is the central government. Okay, it is the central government or governor of the state can declare an area as disturbed area. Okay. So, if area has reported intense violence, if area has reported too much killings, if area is reporting underground movements by some band organization, in such scenario central government or the union government or the governor of the state can declare an area as disturbed area, and if it is declared as disturbed, then army or armed forces of union can be deployed with special powers. Army or armed forces of union under operational command of army can be deployed with special powers. Army can be deployed or any other armed force of the union under operational command of army can be deployed with special powers. You understood? With special powers. So, right, so what I am interested in telling you, that this is what, right, this is what you need to understand is controversial, because you have already studied polity, and even those who have not studied polity, they at least might be knowing that governor of a state is an agent of center as well as head of the state executive, and governor of a state is appointed by center. In India, we do not have a federal polity like USA where governor is even elected. In India, governor is appointed, and governor is playing dual role. One is agent of center and second is head of the state executive. So, by and large, this power remains in the hand of union or center. That is, the power to declare an area as disturbed area remains in the hands of union, center. Even though the power is there for governor, but governor in India is playing a dual role, one as an agent of center, the other as the head of state executive. Now, in such scenario, logically it can be concluded that this power to declare for practical purpose remains in the hands of union, power to declare an area remains. So, in federal polity, where law and order is a state subject, this kind of power in the hands of center, and where they can deploy army without the without the consent of state, goes against the spirit of federal polity, and this is where some controversy is, right. This is where some controversy is. Okay. But I would just like you all to remember that this section 3 is little bit controversial. It is not that controversial, because we have to vest in some authority the power to develop to declare an area as disturbed area. But most controversial, I would say, is section 4, and within section 4 special powers are given, special powers are mentioned. So, when army is deployed, what all special powers they will have, that finds explicit mention in section 4. Okay, section 4. Now, which all sections, which all powers are there under section 4, which is attracting controversy, that is what is very, very important for you to understand. Now, I do not know if I ask, some of you may respond. I want you to respond, all of you. Okay. I want you to all of you to respond. So, what you feel is the controversy related with APSPA, whatever little you have heard, and if you do not know anything, no problem. Okay, but whatever little you have heard or you know, please send it to me through chat, and centers can send it through SAS. Okay, so Dharwad, Simla, okay, Ludhiana and other centers. Okay. So, please, right, please tell me what controversy you think, what controversy you think. Okay. Hidayat is asking question, why people's freedom, liberty, right to life, dignity are being compromised in the name of internal security, which itself is for people's security. Okay. So, let me just tell you, Hidayat, there are two sides of the coin, you need to understand this. Okay. You need to understand this. One is, freedom of speech, expression, liberty, okay, all what you are talking, and on other side state's responsibility to maintain unity, integrity, sovereignty, and to ensure safety, protection of citizens. Okay. So, these are two compartments. One is freedom of the people, freedom of speech, expression. Okay. Now, what is expected? What is expected? That people should have willingness. Okay. People should have willingness to sacrifice some of their freedom in the name of unity, integrity, sovereignty of the country. And a state has the responsibility to protect the freedom to an extent possible without intruding the freedom of speech, expression, liberty, right to dignified life. The state should, maintain the security of the country, sovereignty. This is ideal situation. But as and when disturbance will be there, definitely a state will intrude in a reasonable manner. This is what is mentioned in Constitution. So, Hidayat, let me just bring to your knowledge that in Article 19, 6 fundamental freedoms are given to citizens, but those fundamental freedoms are fundamental. They are not absolute. In the same article of Indian Constitution, there is explicit mention of reasonable restrictions on those freedom, and those reasonable restrictions include the sovereignty of the country. Sovereignty of the country. So, this is where, but only problem is, only problem right now is that we have started interpreting security threats in a different way, and that is what is shaping the response of the government, giving birth to controversies, So, we will have a discussion on that, but I was just asking that some of you, can you just tell me, so now I have got some response. Pradeep Pinto is saying full control, no freedom. Shahrukh Ali is saying overwhelming powers given to forces. Subnur Hazuria is saying extrajudicial killings. Anant Dhanraj, immunity from legal prosecution. Gopi Krishnan, over control of army in the region. Dehradun is saying APSPA comes as a wall between locals, and APSPA, unlike police, aren't meant to be friendly within the local, rather it is there to combat building insurgency. An outsider agency providing security can come as an intangible obstacle between community harmony. This is what is the controversy you feel. Then another response from Dehradun, that personal life and liberty is lost if I am not wrong. Armed forces, if make an arrest, they don't have to produce persons before magistrate within 24 hours. Fine. So, now you all should know the provisions in exact way. See, the controversy is, you will not find any other law in India which talks about force used by security forces to the extent of causing death. In other laws, what we have said, that force, what we have said, that the force can be used by police force and security force, and the force used by police force and security force should be proportionate to needs. But this is one law in India where it is written that security forces can use force even to the extent of causing death. And this whole provision under section 4 is interpreted differently by security forces. So, write down that under section 4, army or armed forces of union deployed under the act can use force even to the extent of causing death, even to the extent of causing death. Even to the extent of causing death under some circumstances, okay. Number one, right, number one, if somebody is acting in gross contravention of law, in presence of army or armed forces of union, if somebody is acting in gross contravention of law. Number two, when prohibitory orders are issued, and then there is a unlawful assembly of 5 or more people, unlawful assembly of 5 or more people, then, right, then if somebody is in possession of deadly weapon, etc. Okay. So, one of the controversial provision, just try to understand this, all of you, okay, just try to understand this, that in this APSPA there is a provision that security forces, while they are performing duty, can use force, and you should use this expression in your answer, and can use force even to the extent of causing death in certain circumstances. What are those circumstances? In their presence, when they are performing duty, at their duty place, if somebody is grossly violating the law, it means they are challenging the authority of army. When they are standing there, and then in their, in front of their eyes, somebody is grossly violating the law, army can use force, and that force can be even to the extent of causing death. Number two, when prohibitory orders have been issued, okay, and then there is a unlawful assembly of 5 people, when it has been informed to the people that they should not come out of houses, there cannot be any assembly of 5 or more people, and then, right, after the prohibitory order 5 or more people are coming, then army can use force even to the extent of causing that. And if somebody is openly found in possession of deadly weapon, which definitely is a threat to security force, because deadly weapon, AK-47 and some other such weapon in the hands, they can use force. Okay. Now, I would just like to ask a practical question, and all of you should send the response quickly. Okay. I will, and this kind of situation test can be there even in the 4th paper, ethics paper. Okay. You tell me, I am just giving a situation. Let us say this is the road. Okay. And on this road, police has, army has raised barricade. Okay. Barricade has been raised by army, and this is the duty point, duty post of army. Now, what army is doing? Army has, right, army has intelligence input. Okay. So, some intelligence input is there. All of you have to send the response. Intelligence input with army. What intelligence input is there? That two insurgents may cross this barricade as they are traveling, may cross this barricade on motorbike. Okay, so they are riding bike, they may cross. Now, this is the input with army. Now, let us say, that at same point of time, a 16-year-old boy from the nearby locality anyhow convinced the father that please give me bike, I just want to visit a friend of mine, I will be back in home in 5 minutes. Now the father initially denied, but later on, when mother made an intervention, let him go, he is saying he will be back in 5 minutes. Now what happens? That this boy goes to a friend nearby and both of them decide that they will go for a bike ride, 2-kilometer bike ride they will go, they will go for. Now when they are riding the bike, as they are approaching towards the barricade, now they know they don't have license, and then they see large number of army on the road, they get scared, and then they suddenly decide to take a U-turn. The army is warning from behind that stop immediately. They are defying the orders of army and they are making attempt to run away from that place. Now the army is of the opinion that they are the two terrorists or insurgent which they have been looking for. From behind, army open fire that kills the boy who was sitting in the back. So my question to you, who in this scenario is wrong? Is it army? Is it the two boys? Is it the father? Is it, is it nobody? What of fate, misfortune is to be blamed? What you say? Your response please. In this situation which I have told you, all of you have to answer, Who should be blamed? Army? Father? The two boys? Nobody? Just it's a, situation. Tell me. Yes. Tell me immediately. All of you have to respond. Yes. Aruna is saying father. Harita is saying army, sir, undoubted. Deepti Bharadwaj is saying force used is disproportionate. Anjana again is saying father is to be blamed. Karan is saying father to be blamed. Anita is saying maybe the two boys. Army, boy. Some of you are saying two boy. Good response. Some is saying mother is to be blamed because father was not, willing. It was mother who forced. Manish Rabidas is saying nobody. Many of you say boys are to be blamed. Okay, boys are to be blamed. Dehradun is saying army must be having some details about the two-wheeler being used by, so army is not to be blamed, intelligence input is to be blamed. They only had this much information. Gorakhpur is saying two boys. Okay, now, right now, let me just tell you, in this case, right, though there is mistake of all, but the largest share of blame will go to army. And you know why? You forgot one thing. With greater power comes the greater responsibility. And army is, again, we need to read the provisions of law in letter and spirit, not in letter. Letter and spirit. What is written in APSPA? It is written that army has to use force to the extent of causing death. It means initially the quantum of force should be little, and then as situation demands, the army should raise the quantum, and while they are raising the quantum, they can even reach to the extent that force used by them causes death. Now, in this scenario, what is happening? Army in the first go is using that much quantum of force which leads to the death. Okay, had these two boys opened fire on army and then army would have opened retaliatory fire in which the boy was killed, I would have said that it was not the mistake of army. But they are just running away. Army should have chased them. If not, army should have fired in air. Army should have fired the bullet to hit the tire of the bike. Army should have informed the next duty post that this bike has defied the orders to stop. And how can it be that you just in the first instance open fire? So yes, means there is some fault, mistake at the end of mother, at the end of father, at the end of two boys, but the biggest share of blame in this situation will be with army for two reasons. Number one, I told you that greater power comes, right, with greater power comes the greater responsibility. And number two, the provisions of the law should always be read in letter and spirit by those who are there to enforce the law, right, to enforce the law. So what I am just interested in telling you that when army said stop, they decided not to stop. Then army, it was a case of mistaken identity. On army, it is a case of mistaken identity. Before you use force to the extent of causing death, army is expected to double cross, double cross check that they are using force to the extent of causing death against right kind of people. Okay. So, in this case, right, in this case, the biggest share of blame is with army. Army is expected that they should use force step by step, and while they are increasing the quantum of force, they can even reach to that level. They can reach to that level where it's causing death, where it's causing death. So what I am just trying to say that one provision in this APSPA which is controversial, that in this law there is a provision that army can use force. Now उसमें लिखा है when somebody is acting in gross contravention of law, gross contravention of law, then they can use force even to the extent of causing death. Now this word is what many of army personnel are not able to understand in letter and spirit. They only feel, right, and even common people feel that army is having the authority to use force or to kill or to shoot. No. In spirit, army can use force. While using force, as per the demand of situation, they can increase the quantum of force, and while increasing, they can even reach to that quantum. It's like, I hope all of you are having this understanding. All of us have the right to self-defense. Okay, all of us have the right to self-defense. Now you tell me, forget about army, all of us also have the right to self-defense. Now you tell me that, right, that if somebody is in possession of weapon, what I will do? I will exercise my right to self-defense and will take out my weapon and will kill that person. And tomorrow I will stand in the court of law and will defend my action by saying, my lord, I only have exercised my right to self-defense. Because he was having weapon. And I know on the basis of his facial expression and body language that this person with weapon is a threat to my life. So I exercised my right to self-defense. Will this argument withstand the scrutiny of the court? Never. Because in right to self-defense, this right is with individual only when there is a ultimate threat to your life. Even at penultimate stage, this right is not with you or not with me. We will have to establish in the court of law that there was ultimate threat to my life and nothing else was left with me. Then I have exercised my right to self-defense, which has led to the death of that person. Otherwise, the court will punish you for murder, and if not murder, at least for culpable homicide. So you need to understand, same goes for army, that in the law they have been given power to use force even to the extent of causing death. And we need to understand the meaning of this expression in a integrated manner. So immatured people, emotional fool people, biggest problem in India is, you know what? India is a country where majority of people lacks emotional maturity. And when you will go for civil service interview, this trait in your personality is what will be seen by the board. They will see what kind of emotional maturity you have. And emotion should be your strength, not your weakness. Some are emotionally immature and some are emotionally full. Many a times, no, even during the mock interview, sometimes we find candidates, if they are asked some question, they will break into tears. That establishes beyond reasonable doubt that the person is not emotionally matured, emotional imbalance is high. वो दोनों देखते हैं, ये देखो आपको IQ एंड EQ दोनों का टेस्ट है इंटरव्यू, इंटेलिजेंस कोसेंट एंड इमोशनल कोसेंट. इमोशनल कोसेंट में देखते हैं they are seeing less IQ. You know why? Because they know your IQ levels are high, then only you qualified prelims, then only you qualified mains. But definitely some, some testing will be of IQ in the interview board as well. There will be some testing, but more they are inclined towards testing the EQ of the individual during personality test. So, many of us, we need to understand that emotional maturity, थोड़ा सा अंडरस्टैंडिंग आना है, ठीक है. एक मिनट में नहीं बोल देना है मार दिया ठीक किया, नहीं 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 मारना चाहिए था, हाउ आर्मी कैन डू दिस, ये भी नहीं है ना. Okay, so what I want you all to know, have you understood this? So one controversial provision you have understood, use of force even to the extent of causing death. Then other controversial provision in the same section, right, army can arrest without warrant. Okay, so just write down, army can arrest without warrant. Army, army has the power to search and frisk. Search and frisk. So frisking, what is frisking? They will just touch your body and will see whether you are carrying. Frisking, they will ensure that inside the cloth, in the pocket, right, you are not hiding something. So this is what, when you go to airport, CISF will be doing the frisking through metal detectors, and then through, body checks can also be there. So body checks, okay, that is what frisking. So army has the right to conduct search, okay. Then they can conduct raid any premises, okay. They can conduct raid any premises anytime, if they have, inputs and information of premises being used as hideouts for terrorists, and even they can blow the premises, or can set on fire the premises if is being used Aishwarya Mishra is getting a bit emotional. She is saying, if in the place of boys there would have been insurgents and then they would have escaped, then army will be blamed. Yes, if they would have escaped, then army is to be blamed. What we expect from army? We expect from army, right, alertness, attentiveness, right. They should be doing the profiling. How can it happen that army is deployed, and when they have the information that two of the insurgents, and then the insurgents are outsmarting the army and they are just sneaking? How can it be? They have to check. Okay, they have to check. And if while checking, it's not that no, they will check like a fool. How they check? One person will be checking, the other will be keeping that person who is being checked on gunpoint from a distance, and any suspicious movement, they can overpower them. That is what is the drill of army. That is what is expected from army. That is what they are trained for. Okay, so how can terrorist, or insurgent can escape? Okay, but in the name of arresting the insurgent, you cannot use force in this manner. This is something which we need to understand. Okay, so this is there. Now, coming to this, right, coming back, what I was saying. So, right to frisk, right to search, power to, right, power to raid, conduct raid in any premises, any time. I do not know whether you are aware, and if not, you must be aware. Are you aware that if police has to conduct a raid, then police cannot conduct raid in any household after sunset and before sunrise. From sunset to sunrise, police cannot conduct raid, and if they have to conduct raid after sunset for some operational needs, arrest of some criminal, some operational needs, then you know there is a process that such kind of raids can only be ordered by SP and above rank officer. And the order which will be given by the SP, there should be a general diary entry. And what will be entered in the general diary of the police station? That order number so and so, the superintendent of police of this district, right, superintendent of police of this district has given orders to conduct raid at this hour in this house for this region, and the raid party will be led by sub-inspector, inspector, assistant sub-inspector, and will include these personnel. There will be a general diary entry, and then after general diary entry, when the raid party will start from the police station, they will make entry that at this much hour, right, at this much specific hours, the raid party left the police station. Then they will conduct the raid, and while they are conducting raid, they cannot question women. Females cannot be questioned, and if females are to be questioned, then in the raid party there must be female or women constables and officers. And when they come back, again they have to make a general diary entry about sequence of events during the raid, what all has happened during the raid, and what was